Hi, I'm Anne.
Hi, I'm Kayla.
Hi, I'm Holly.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Marie, and we are coming to you live from Living Felt because it's
Happy Woolly Wednesday!
Hey friends, happy Wednesday. It's actually cool here today, isn't it?
So nice.
Gosh, we had a few days that reminded us we are in Texas back in the 90s, but it's cold and rainy today, so it's a perfect day for a fall project. But you guys aren't crafting. What are you up to? What do you guys have to share?
I've been doing a little bit of what we call the fairy do list. So it's our little list of all the things that we need to get done today and this week. So that's always a lot of fun.
Fairy do.
I guess I've been working off of the fairy do list. You guys are very busy with all your blingy fibers, so we can't keep up.
Yeah, I've been rolling some kind of Christmas green inspired MC1 studio packs today.
That's a good time to start making for Christmas. What about you, Anne?
I've been prepping for a workshop that we'll be having tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Some of our felting friends are going to gather, and we're going to learn how to nano-felt a collage poncho with jean goggers.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, right? Yeah, and it's going to be a small class with like really big results at the end, and a lot of work in between. that's for sure. Now, y'all had something you wanted to share today. Who has something to share?
No, I'll go ahead if nobody.
Yeah, go for it.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who did the Boo Kitty along with us on Woolly Wednesday. There was so many cute posts on our Facebook group. I know Martha Abramson, she made some like cute little spiders and her own gray Boo Kitty and her trick-or-treat bags. So that was super cute.
That was really fun seeing everybody's project, huh? And yay to Kayla for coming
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Now, Holly, I thought you had a show and tell.
Oh, my bowl is over there.
We have a very good show and tell.
Okay, so I am still practicing my wet felting. I've only made a scarf that apparently looked like bacon. But I made the autumn leaves bowl. I used basically scraps, and then I had some of the orange pre-felt. So you may notice that it's not necessarily as leafy as the other one. But then I added some white neps because I just, got to try it all. So, I'm happy with it.
It's wonderful, Holly. Yay, Holly. That's your first wet felting project.
I made the cobweb
the
scarf
scarf,
once,
right,
which is kind of completely different.
Yeah.
But, so it's my first, yeah.
Yay. Connie Wood says, yay, Kayla and Boo Kitty. Everyone's loving your little bowl. Oh, it's so fun. Perfect for the fall, y'all. Is that all you guys got?
Yeah.
All right, we got a tutorial to jump into, so we're going to jump
Y'all
to
have fun. See you later.
Hey everyone, thank you for being here today. We want to say hi to a few people, but everyone watching the live show, thank you so much for joining the live show. It's always fun for us to spend this time with you. We have a great project for you. I'm going to show you that. It's a needle felting with a tiny smidge of wet felting today. Sammy says, keep felting. Pat is checking in. We have Maureen from Oregon, Caroline in New Zealand. Who do you got over there, Anne?
See, we've got Catherine in California, Sherry in Louisiana, Sharon in New York.
So cool. It's so fun to have you all here. We have been working on a fun little fall project to share with you. And so we're going to turn down and show you what that is. Let me just get myself into place here. So we have been working on what we call our fall table. It's a fall table runner. We're calling it our pumpkin spice felt linens. So you can make a table runner or a placemat. Mine is a table runner with the design on both sides. And I made a shorty table runner as opposed to a really long one. You could go any length you want. And I've also made a placemat, which I'm going to share with you in just a minute. So what do people think, Anne? Y'all ready to jump into this?
Oh, yes. Colleen shares that she's watching in the school pickup line. I love it.
Okay, so we really don't need a lot of supplies to do this, but we do need some MC1, and word has it that the fairies gathered some MC1. We're going to be working today with MC1, and let's just look at the linen real fast. So the linen that I'm working with here, it's a little more heavyweight, and it's kind of a solid color. And you can go with a lightweight linen too, which I'm going to show you that I used on my placemats. So this is a heavier weight linen, or you can use a lighter weight linen. And then we're also working with our MC1 batting, and these are just the colors that I chose for my project. So MC1 is a domestic short fiber product. It needle felts, it wet felts, and it's nice and springy with short staple. This is mandarin, orange cream, and hot orange. We also have chimney, pumpkin spice, dark chocolate. We're using shire and spruce, but gosh, almost any greens that you have that you like will work with it. I always just like a yellowy green and then a dark green also.
Dawn says, that is beautiful.
Now, it doesn't take much, so if you don't have all this big bundle, then you can try one of our studio packs. So Anne brought those too. You can try a studio pack or a goodie pack. This is a goodie pack of MC1. This is this is a studio pack. Our studio packs come with 1 ounce of 6 different colors, and this is the current fall mixture. We have tons of those to choose from, but this is just in the fall-ish tones. And then this is an MC1 goodie bag, which is going to have at least 12 colors of our MC1 batting and much smaller amounts. So really, if you just need a smidge, try a goodie bag. They are pretty uniform, so if you want individual colors, you can get the 2 ounce rolls, or you can get the studio pack. Okay, so that's all you need as far as supplies. That's all you need as far as real supplies, and everything else is just going to be tools. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is cut your fabric to the size that you want. And I have, my table runners are about 36 by 19. Let me just, so they're about, about 36 inches long, and you can go as long as you want with whatever your fabric is. And then these are, 12, 13 inches wide. My placemats were about 19 by 13. We have a download for this, y'all, so go ahead and grab that. But the very first thing we want to do is stitch a border so that we can get this real nice fringe. And I'm going to hold this up close for you to see. This is a 1/2 inch fringe, and towards the end of the show, I'll show you another one that was a 1 inch fringe. So consider a 1/2 inch, 3/4, or a 1 inch, depending on how big you want your fringe to be. And we're gonna stitch on this border right here. So I'll just demonstrate that for you. I don't know, maybe for people who don't sew or feel a little intimidated to sew. Yeah?
Yeah. Bonnie says, I love this. It's so elegant, very warming for a cozy dinner with those you love.
Oh, sweet, 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 sweet. So let's go to the sewing machine, and I have a little assistant on my sewing machine here, and that is some lines. So if you want a 1 inch border, mark where your needle is. I see this piece of tape. Mark where your needle is, and then mark 1 inch off of that, above and below. If you want a 1/2 inch, well then mark a 1/2 inch. And this tape right now is running on my 1 inch up to here, my 1 inch margin. And if I do my 1 inchers, then my tape helps in 3 different places, on the side, on the top, and on the bottom. So it shows me where to start and where to stop. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Okay, well, y'all just jump in with any questions. Keep in mind that Anne's writing down names, or we're going to pull some names at the end. So here's what I've done. Let's say I want a 1 inch border. Then I put my fabric up to the 1 inch mark, and then I'm dropping my needle at 1 inch from that mark. Do your normal forwards and backwards, just a couple stitches. I have shoes on, so I told Anne I can't sew with shoes on.
I bet it changes like the feel of everything. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to probably stitch this whole thing. I didn't bring in my little sample piece, but here's what you want to do. You want to stitch in this border. See how long it takes while Anne reads your comments.
Diana says, I love the color of that linen. It makes the pumpkin design pop.
Yeah, I really, sorry, camera jumpy there. I really did like this one myself. We just want to stitch down one whole side, and I'll turn a corner for the people who don't sew. I want to stitch down one whole side so I can show you how to fringe. If you've never fringed linen, it really is a lot of fun.
Anne says, I'm definitely one who is intimidated by sewing. Thank you so much for showing this.
You know what, the truth is I always wanted to sew, but I thought maybe I'm not technical enough, and I finally just decided I want to learn to sew. Okay, so here's where the bottom line comes in. When your fabric gets right about to there, and I like to go just close to it, you want to stop your fabric at that line. Keep your needle in to the fabric to turn a corner, and then you're just going to lift up the presser foot, and since your needle's in, it holds the fabric in place. And then once your fabric is square, then you can just stitch down the other side. And hopefully that was helpful.
Beth says, well, now I need a sewing machine.
Yeah, well, that's how I felt too. I wonder if I have time to just stitch this whole bad boy up. If we do it, then I'll be finishing this whole thing tonight. That'll be my evening's relaxation. All right, I'll hurry up. I think we have time because we'll be going through a lot of steps though. So any other questions, Anne? Or things you want to share?
Carol says, I'm so excited about making these table runners with Christmas designs too.
Oh yeah, I definitely have some Christmas designs in mind, and I wanted to have another example for you, and I just had other homework. Can you imagine?
What?
I know.
No.
Other homework. I didn't mean to sew all this, but I'm saving myself from having to sew it tonight to start and stop. So thanks for helping me, everybody. Come on. We're almost done. This is our last, oopsie, sorry. This is our last side right here.
Well, Stephanie says, I love learning to combine skills.
Oh,
for
that's
projects.
fun. Yeah, sometimes you want more useful things from your felting, and this really is a pretty easy project for anybody to do. Okay, so as you approach this line, just go slow, because we want to stop right on it. And then we'll go backwards, just a couple. You really don't have to go back that many. And I'll just cut that. Okay, we are all done with the sewing bit. Oh, thank you, Anne. Okay, so now that we're done with the sewing bit, we want to get our image onto our fabric. And the way I like to do that is with the iron-on transfer pen. Y'all have seen me show this all the time. Anybody could use it. Is my iron live? It's not. It'll just take a second. Anybody can use it. The instructions are right on the pen. Sometimes people tell us that they have difficulty getting the pen started, and all you have to do is you're just going to put pressure on that pen tip until this little felt tip right here turns the color of your pen. So it's white when you get it, and you'll just press down on it a few times on your paper to get it going. Trace over your whole image. So just to show you what that looks like, this image, and you have a link if you grab the download after the show. We'll put the download in the
Description.
Yeah, in the description. Yeah. And anyway, this is what it looks like after you trace it with a pen. So use your iron-on transfer pen and trace only the parts that you want to transfer. Anything else, don't trace. Okay. So then put your design right where you want it. Now, I wanted mine kind of a little bit off. You see there's a little bit of space. There's a little bit of space off of where the leaf pattern starts. So leaving the paper border on there is actually really nice. Okay, so our iron-on transfer pen, I hit the iron on the highest setting and hold it in place for 20 seconds. It will tell you when the image is transferred. You'll be able to see a change in the back of the paper. So the ink will look markedly darker on the back of the paper once it's transferred through.
What temperature should the iron be on?
Put it on the highest dry setting. You don't want it to be steamy. And it just took my iron a second to heat up. Okay, so you can see that the design is darker, than it was, and I didn't trace this, so I don't know how dark all those lines are, but you can do a little peeky, and mostly you just need most of the image on there. You don't need it, just get as much of the image as you need. So, all right, once you have that in place, then we're going to needle felt it.
Does the transfer pen work with any special paper, or is it ordinary paper?
It's just ordinary paper. It's just actually ordinary printer paper. Okay, so I have a little collection of my fibers here. This is the MC1 batting colors that I showed you, sans the green. I lost my light green.
Oh, it's getting feisty.
Okay, so I have mandarin orange and hot orange here. And we won't have time to needle felt the whole pumpkins, but let me just show you kind of how I get there. So I like to blend the oranges together. Just like this. Blend the oranges together by hand just to get a fun color. Then once you have a blend that you like, try and mix in another color. So I like to start with like the darker areas. This is chimney. I'm going to take a little bit of chimney. Just get in a little closer here for you. I'm going to take a little bit of chimney and mix it with the MC1.
What needle size do you recommend using?
I really like working with a 42 or a 40 or a 38 triangle, something like that. But you might like a 38 star. I know our friend Danny Ives really likes a 38 star. I like to start with the darker colors and just start filling in the outline.
Could you also do this with a felt sheet?
Yes, you could do this with a felt sheet. So we've often used wool felt and felt sheets in our videos, and so we haven't used a lot of linen. So there are a few other tutorials on our page where we've used the felt sheets. Boo Kitty is one example. We used both a burlap bag and we used a felt sheet. So just play with that. We did a winter Christmas card last year where we used a felt sheet and a linen bag.
Judy says, I love the mishmash method for blending.
Oh yeah, mishmash is fun too. Mishmash is more cutting, maybe more cut fibers. But you can, for those who don't know, we shared the mishmash method in another tutorial. Okay, so like right now I'm needle felting with a 42. If you're not happy with how much this is all poking down, then get a slightly more aggressive needle. I've just switched to a 38 triangle, and that's gonna poke more wool down. But what you'll notice is that it also tends to leave bigger marks. So you might wanna add a little more wool on top and smooth it out with your 42, or even try a 40 triangle. I like adding a bunch of colors into a pumpkin rather than, even starting static. And you can always go back and fill in all those little spots. So I'm curious, maybe some people want to share how they like to do it. Some people would fill in the whole thing with orange and then go back and add the stripes. I'd be interested to see how y'all have been needle felting your pumpkins.
Vicky just asked, do you ever do just the outline first, like when we were kids with the coloring book?
Oh, that's such a cute idea. I really don't. I guess I think of this as the outline, And look, you can make this bulbous or flat. I'm going to tend to make mine a little more flat. because we're going to try and finish it so that it really is a useful table linen. Like food could accidentally get on it and you'll feel like you could recover.
Gotta love the functionality.
So does anyone have a different way that they like to do it? Maybe just particularly their pumpkins?
Let's see. No one shared a way yet. Sharon asks, would you suggest putting a backing on it?
I think that's
washing?
really up to you, and I'll definitely want to talk about that when we get a little further along in the project. So what you want to do when you're focusing on the needle felt part is to make sure that you're felting all your parts really, really well. You don't want them to be loose and fluffy. So let me just basically demonstrate the pumpkin, and then we're going to jump through to some other steps in this project. If you're watching this for the first time and you've never seen needle felting, we have a ton, and I know that's not most of you watching now, but we have a ton of videos on needle felting in 2D now on our website. And so we won't have time to finish this whole project in today's video, but if you want more instruction on needle felting in 2D, then pick up some of those on our Woolly Wednesday playlist or needle felting playlist. Okay, so I'm just drafting this. I don't know how close. We're not in that close, are we? Let's get in a little bit closer. Oh, that's zoomy zoom. Okay, so I'm just going to draft this out a little bit so I sort of anchor it with my needle, and then I draft it out a little bit. Draft it out a little bit. And that way you don't put down too much. You don't have to have this big solid line. And at any point, if you feel like what you just put down is too solid, well, the MC1 batting, you can just pull off this little puny tiny fluff and just drop it right over top. And it's going to mute anything you just did, but it doesn't necessarily have to completely cover it.
Ooh, Iva shares that she likes to add each color next to each other first and then blend on top of that.
Oh, yeah, like a dark and the medium and then light on top. And yep. Yeah, and I've done that too, but I guess I like colors to go down in a mixture already. I just like pumpkins are so variegated, I don't want to try and control it so much. So like with a pumpkin, I just want to benefit from sort of like some pre-mixed hues and then accent from there. And so why don't I show that a little bit. You get the basic idea for filling in your pumpkins. Have fun with that and keep playing with them. You saw that I added some dark in there, and I'm just using the chimney. You can use pumpkin spice or brown, anything that really speaks to you. But to add a little highlights, that's what I use the orange cream for. And you could even use, I would say yellow. Use yellow over white so it's not too bright. Now mine's still really rough, and I'm going to show you one in a second here that's more finished, because I really like my needle felting to be smooth. And again, I want this to be launderable. This is a launderable fringed linen pumpkin spice felt. This is just a little bit of orange cream I dropped on top, and can you see how that already starts to take something that looks kind of flat and bring it to life, even if all you do is drop it, on the very tops of your swoops there. It's going to start to give it a little bit more dimension. Does that work? Mm-hmm.
Cindy says, I like the organic way this looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and some people are going to be more refined, and they're going to want something very particular. Someone might even be more primitive, so the style really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you sort of have a way to execute your interests, if you have a way to kind of bring this to life. And you can put, I have a little pinch of pumpkin spice here. I'm just going to drop that right over this piece in the back so you can see how we go from, I put down a really bright mandarin, we call it, orange. And then I just drop pumpkin spice right over the top, and it just tones it down right away. So play with your layering a little bit, have fun with that, and fill out your picture as far as you want. I'll do a little bit of the green.
Cherie asks, when you flat felt, Marie, do you prefer the surface being flat on a table or angled up like on a slanted art easel?
You know, that's such a great question. Who asked that question?
Cherie.
Hi, Cherie. I am a lap felter. So when I've done portraits, like an animal portrait, it really doesn't serve me all that well to do it on my lap because you're looking at it at an angle like this and it actually will distort the picture. So it doesn't really benefit me to needle felt that way if I'm doing a portrait and I have to change my view all the time to make sure that I'm staying in perspective. But I actually came across someone the other day who just is adamant about her students felting on an easel, and because of the perspective coming from a painting perspective. But me, needle felting is like a fun evening, and so I don't like want to sit at a desk or whatever. Like I'm just cold chilling when I'm needle felting. And my feet are up. You know, all the pictures you see with the socks sticking out from under the foam. That's totally me. Mm-hmm.
Vicky says this would be a cute basket towel with fall things on it.
A basket towel? I want to visit. Who's I don't have any basket towels around my house, but it sounds like a lovely place to visit. Mm-hmm. Like a sweet bed and breakfast.
Oh, yes.
You know? Okay, look, I'm just dropping pumpkin spice right on these back rinds. Play with that. If it's too dark, add a light color over or a blend or whatever. I know you guys are going to make some amazing pumpkins, and I've got like my super speedy down and dirty pumpkins, but there's a lot more to this project. So let's at least pop on a stem, and I've showed you how to go this far. So all I want to point out is make sure that if you want this to be launderable, that you really needle felt it smooth and flat. So let me drop in a little stem here. What you got, Anne?
See, Esther says it looks so real with shades and light.
And the truth with that is, if you do it pre, then you'll kind of see what looks right and what looks wrong as you put it down. You know what I mean? Like as it falls into place, just by putting more color on it, it sort of gives you an opportunity to think about it. And, you know, as opposed to feeling like you don't know where to start. Some of those natural highlights are really fun. Okay, so fill in your pumpkins and your vines. Do I need to do a vine? Is everyone kind of, should I finish the rest of the project? Move on? Once you get your picture needle felted like you want it, then what we want to do is wet felt it. I want to wet felt it so that it will hold up in the washing machine. That's the most important thing. Okay, so let's get we're going to get our wet felting stuff together. All I need is a little bit of hot water. So to wet felt this, I'm just going to use like a simple little tray. The hot water kettle is ready. So can you just pour? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so all I'm going to do to wet felt this is get some hot water, my olive oil soap, just a little hand towel, and yeah, that's it. Your hands, towel, hot water, and soap. Okay. So I'm gonna do, let's see, zoom out here. Thanks for your patience, everybody, today. We're working with a extra camera, which is unusual. Okay, so I'm gonna wet felt the one that I showed you. So this piece was laundered and ironed. My design was needle felted on, and then I fringed the ends. So actually, why don't we jump to, I'll fringe the ends for you here. I'll show you how we fringe the ends, because we want to do that before we launder. So to fringe your ends, all you need is a straight pen, like a straight pin. And you can fringe, if you've done this before, let us know. So let me zoom down here again. This is actually quite fun, and it's the part to do when you're feeling the least creative, and you want to do it with a fabric that will fringe, or that will fringe nicely. Because we've cut it, all these little sticky uppy bits, these little threads will actually come out. But what you want to do is take your straight pin and pluck pluck at the threads to pull them to kind of get them started. And you might find that one side is easier to start on than the other. So you're just going to pull a thread or two. And in some cases, this one's going to come apart on me. Sometimes you can pull them in a straight line, and sometimes you just pull them this way. Now, as I pick at this a little bit, I'll tell you that what I noticed is, when you do this, you're going to notice that it seems like your fringe is going to be a little crooked, but I think for the most part it's not going to show up. And that's because the fabric tends to shift on you when you cut it. So all you have to do is grab a line or two of thread and pull on them. Now, some linens, it's going to be a little bit easier to just pull on it this way, and you can just pull it out. And it's only going to go as long as the thread is. So once you start getting down close to your border, you might find that some of the rows dip down under the thread while others are still above. So then you're just going to want to stop at some point. Now, we're going to look at a different example here in a minute after the wash session, but I want to show you that the warp and the weft of this fabric is the same color, and you might have a fabric that doesn't have the same colors. So just keep that in mind. So we have, if you've needle felted your whole design, go ahead and fringe your fabric at that point. And then once you get it fringed, then we'll wet felt. And this really is pretty organized. I'm just kind of far away from it right now. And what happens is you go in order. You're going to end up with a whole bunch of stringy bits, which is what I shared on my Facebook.
Anna Franklin just posted, so these were the loose threads in that
That's all I shared was a teaser that said basically, here's my view right now. Okay, so y'all, this is so easy, nothing to be intimidated about. Once you have your fabric fringed, Anne's giving me some blazing hot water here, which was exactly what I wanted. Okay. Then I am going to, my hands are super soapy and slick, and I'm just gonna wet all the way through this with my bare hands. Now, if your design is loose, you're gonna know right away, if it's too loose. If you want to go back and needle felt it after it's dry, you can, or you can also felt it through bubble wrap if it just feels too furry. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see this a little more closely, but this is really all we're doing. We're just going to wet this fabric all the way through. And yeah, we're going to felt both sides, but this is how I'm felting. Lots of soap on my hands, super slidey, glidey, and hey, go in circles. Really get those fibers to interlock and entangle. Really get them to grab onto each other.
Is there a particular feeling that you're going for?
I just want to know that I'm kind of matting that very surface layer. And actually, I guess just think of it as what you're doing is you're giving it a trial run for the washing machine, because then the washing machine is going to bang up against other fabrics. And I want to do the back too. Like people often ask, do they need to seal the back or do something like that? You can if you want to. You could sew a mirror of the fringed piece on the back. You could put an interfacing inside and sew something else on the back, but I would probably do it before you fringed, so you could fringe the two kind of at the same time along the same hemline, border line. That would be, at least that's kind of what comes to me, is to, make that mirror at the same time. Okay, so this is felted. So this means as much as I'm roughing this up with my hands, this is going to hold together. But, something else I want you to notice is that there's no bleeding of the colors. So if you have a fiber and you're concerned about it, or maybe especially if it's a red or something with, a lot of red in it, then test a little bit on a sample piece of fabric and, see if it's going to bleed or ruin on you before you go through this and end up at this place. Okay, so now what you want to do is, after you've felted it, throw it in a lingerie bag, put it in the washing machine. I wouldn't wash it with like towels or something that's very linty, that just kind of other things grab the lint off of. Wash it with blue jeans or something else like other sheets or linens that are kind of mellow. but put it in a lingerie bag so it's not getting zippers and fabric beating right up against it, and then dry it. And I wash mine on cold, like I wash all my clothes on cold except for towels, and high heat dry is what we do. So once you have that done, I brought one for you. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll just steam it out. And Thank you.
And Linda asks, could you do this project with any fabric that will fringe?
I
or
would do
is
it.
there-
Yeah, do it with any fabric that will fringe that you want to do it with. I mean, this might be fun decorator thing. You know what? This would be a really cute hostess apron.
Oh my goodness.
Wouldn't it? I mean, like a really cute hostess apron, I think. Okay, so I brought something with me. All right, so this is my piece. Let me just show that to you. This is my piece. Honest, this just was everything I just showed you. It's just a different, it's a lighter weight of linen. And on this linen, the warp and the weft are different. The warp and the weft, I can't talk today, are different colors. So one's white and one's darker, kind of like the other fabric I showed you. And I think it's really cute. Like, I like it being a little bit different. So this was washed on cold and dried on hot for like, I don't know, 30 minutes at least, because we always dry on super hot. So I'm just going to let my iron heat up here for a second, and we're going to iron this bad boy out. Now I like the fringed edge, and the thing about that is you may like yours a little bit shorter. This one was a 1 inch, so it's going to tend to look even more squiggly. Okay, let's see if we can get my iron on. Marie's having iron challenges today. What do we got, Ann?
Pam says, ooh, that is lovely. Leaf says, you have such great ideas. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and supporting so many of us.
Oh, man. This is fun, y'all. Okay. I'm just ironing on felt. Oh, by the way, I've taken to using our 1 millimeter felt, and at home I have a slightly thicker felt that I use as my ironing platform. And I just drop it on the table when I want it. So I'm ironing right over the design, and I know some of you have never ironed your felt, so remember I said that you want your felt to be flat. You know, if it's bulbous and you throw it in the washing machine, especially if it's bulbous and it's not firm and you throw it in the washing machine, it's going to flatten.
Are you using the steam setting on the iron at this point?
Yeah, I'm just using the steam setting, but I thought, maybe just for you all, because we always get so many questions, I thought, well, I'll go ahead and spray it with a little spray starch, just so if you're wanting to starch yours, you get over the concern of that as well. Because I know there's sometimes a lot of trepidation. So I'm just using Mary Ellen's Best Press, which is scent-free, and I'm super nerdy like that. So it's non-aerosol, which is nice. And
Sammy says, this is the perfect gift.
Sammy, I think you are right. I think this would be a really nice gift. And a table runner of any size, it doesn't have to be gargantuan, and that way you could get a few more pieces out of your linen. So this is my placemat, or it could be just like a platter mat, right? I mean, if you're having a party and you don't want to have it under every guest plate, you can just have it under a nice serving plate. And then here's the one, then I have a wet one around here. Yeah, so I just wanted to hold the two up together so y'all can see it. Yeah, I'll hold the dry side, whatever. So here's the difference between the two. This is the one I was wet felting with you, and this is the one on a little bit coarser linen. So you can see that one has a different color warp than wet and a slightly lighter weight. I think that was the fastest tutorial I've done.
It was, oh my goodness, impressive.
So I'm looking forward to see if y'all want to give this a go and try and make one too. I know that what I want to do tonight is finish wet felting this one that I started wet felting with you, and then I'll probably also needle felt over the next couple of days on the one that we started on the show. I'll see if I have my, I want to see if y'all have any questions, anything else you want to address. The fairies are gone to gather their prizes, which I know is really important to them. My iron's making all kinds of noise for you. So let me see some of your comments or questions that you want to ask. I really look forward to seeing what you make. Let's see. Oh, Linda, you're welcome. Glenn says, love this project. Vicky says, I like the light one best. You know, I like them both. I think that's what's really fun. Cool. Dolores says she's looking forward to trying this. Yvonne, oh great. I'm so glad that you all like it. So I hope that you'll have a fun take on this theme. I have at least one more fall one in my plans. But the fairies are back, so we're going to give away some prizes. Tell us what our prizes are today, Anne. Are they going to get to choose?
They are.
I put her on the spot, huh? Okay. That's more work for them, actually, so maybe they'll forgive me.
It's all good. Alrighty, our first prize is a super variety pack.
Yeah.
So that's 10 packs of needles, 3 of each size, and it's all the styles we carry. So that's a fun pack. What else do you got?
Prize number 2 is a 12 by 12 felting foam with 3 packs of needles. We've got a coarse, a good general sculpting, and a fine needle, so that all
That's awesome.
covers a nice range. Plus an MC1 goodie bag.
Oh, all this together. Okay, right. Okay.
Alrighty, and our final prize is, thank you. I always pick the baskets that are the most uncomfortable to handle. It's a talent. Our final prize is 3 rolls of MC1 batting.
Okay, so you can choose prize 3, 2, or 1.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. So let's draw some names.
You want to go first, Jan?
Sure. See, our first winner is Stephanie Bryant.
Yes.
Yay, Stephanie. Okay, next winner.
Holly, go for it.
Kelsey Plank.
Lincolnhorn.
Thank you.
Yay, and one more winner today.
Do you want to draw or you want me to?
You draw.
Okay. Yvonne Iverson.
Yay! Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much for felting with us today. If we called your name and you're not in our database, just email customer service at Living Felt, and we'll get all your contact information so we can ship out your prize.
Yay!
So thanks, guys, so much. We hope you have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
y'all. Bye.